On this episode of the Late Night Startup Show, we are speaking with Craig and Cliff Taylor of Taylor Chiropractic and Wellness. They have been voted the #1 chiropractors in Atlanta by several different publications. But we decided to redo the intro because we wanted to announce our giveaway. We're giving away a pair of Apple AirPods on our Instagram page at the Late Night Startup. Go follow us there, find the giveaway post, and you can put your name in the hat. And we're going to announce the winner on April 27th. And of course, we'd like to thank our sponsors, RCR Video Marketing Group, an Atlanta-based, multifaceted video production company creating compelling content to fast forward your business, and Digits in Motion. Digits in Motion is a full-stack digital agency specializing in mobile app development and creating custom software solutions for startups and enterprises. Whether you need to augment your existing staff for a larger project or want to start a product from the ground up, contact Digits in Motion. They can help you achieve your dreams and deadlines. They've helped us with an app that we're developing. Contact them today to help grow your business. And of course, AmazonUPCbarcodes.com. They are the #1 source for UPC barcodes online. All of their barcodes are GS1 verified, and you can use coupon code RCR Video to get 10% off of your purchase at AmazonUPCbarcodes.com. Let's get into the show. Craig and Cliff, thank you so much for coming onto the show. I'm really interested in talking to you guys and hearing your story. I was telling you guys before we started that we've had a lot of unique businesses on the show, and they are in a very specific culture. Versus you guys, there's a ton of competition in Atlanta, let's be honest. And you guys still decided to dive into this and start your own thing, which against the competition and being in the area that you're in could be pretty fearful, I would assume. And this whole show is about just motivating those people that are hesitant to start their business, whether it's because of competition or they don't think their idea will take off, they don't think they're good enough, a plethora of things that hold them back subconsciously almost. You guys still dove into it. So I want to start with your story. Why are you guys passionate about the work that you do, and why did you start?
So, to start with, we grew up here in Atlanta, so there's always a plus with that. So we grew up in actually a medical family, so everyone's actually medical doctors in our family, no chiropractors or wellness coaches or any of that sort. But, growing up in that, we always knew we wanted to do something in the healthcare profession of some sort, right? So in college, we went to college and played a college of sport, lacrosse, actually, up at Indiana University. And so we were hit several times. We hit people, we lifted too much weight, we hurt our backs ourselves, actually. So what happened was, long story short, me personally, Craig, I hurt my back and I herniated some of my mid-back discs, which is, the cushion in between your vertebrae that helps support the, the shock absorber in your spine. So they herniated 3 of my spots in there. So it was pretty bad, sharp pain. So what most people do in that situation, they go to the medical doctor, which is fine, because that's what I was accustomed to as well. And so I went there. I got 3 epidural injections, which is those long needles that go right into your spine. They kind of numb up the area per se. And so for me, let's say I was at a 10 out of 10 pain. It only dropped me down to about a 6 out of 10. So maybe like a 40% decrease in pain. I went to physical therapy, and not saying none of this doesn't work for other people, but for me personally, it didn't work. So then I transferred to UGA, University of Georgia. And when I was there, go Dogs for sure. When I was there, I found a good chiropractor that someone was like, why don't you just try chiropractic, see if it helps you. And so I did. I was with that chiropractor for about a month. And I will say within 2 weeks, my 6 out of 10 was now down to about a 2. And then within a month, it was completely gone. And then now that I just maintain it, it's pretty much always gone. And it's nice to have an in-house chiropractor here that works for me, or with me, that we work together. And so we get adjusted all the time, and that kind of maintains it. So that's what really drove us to give back to the community, at least with myself, give back and show other people that you don't have to take all these drugs and all these medications to go through that process naturally and see if you can cure it without doing all that. So that's what really drove the passion to chiropractic care.
And what about you?
As you can imagine, pretty similar story. So we went to college together. We transferred, or we both played lacrosse as well. I kind of had a similar story. I didn't herniate a disc, but I did hurt my lower back. It was always just an issue. I would just pop Advil every day kind of thing, just don't think anything of it kind of thing, because that's what, we're all used to doing. And kind of like what he said, we found a chiropractor that my family used actually in just Dunwoody, around here. And what he did was, it was like a full assessment of the spine, and he really, long story short, he really helped my lower back and helped me prevent it from coming back. That's really what chiropractic is all about, is just preventative care. And, that way we take a proactive approach as opposed to just waiting until you're pain. I mean, there's either sick care or, there's wellness care kind of thing, So you're either, you're healthy till you're sick kind of thing, so don't wait till you're kind of sick. So, we always knew that it'd be easiest to work together and own our own practice together. And, who better as a business partner than your brother or your family. So, that's kind of how we wanted to, it started with chiropractic, because, we knew that we can own our own practice together and run it together how we wanted. We didn't have to listen to a boss, or he's technically my boss, I'm his kind of thing. But, that's kind of how we both got started. Unfortunately, it was after both injuries, stuff like that. But, a lot of times that people just don't know about chiropractic care until they try it kind of thing. Yeah. So, of course, opening up a business is very scary, and it still is scary. But, once we got used to it and got past all the qualms and regrets, it's been great. So we're really happy.
That's awesome. But you guys knew kind of growing up and through college that you wanted to go into medicine.
Yes.
So you just didn't necessarily know what that would
something
be.
in healthcare.
Yeah, we were both biology majors, kind of pre-med.
We were always into like fitness and taking care of yourself and health and wellness type deal. We just didn't realize that you can do it alternatively versus always taking medication. I'm not saying medication isn't a good thing for a certain time situation. Absolutely. Of course there is. But in certain aspects, you can really affect your spine and your health and wellness without having to do all that.
So as you were getting adjusted after that injury for the first time,
I loved it, man. It was.
Is that where like the light bulb went off?
It was life changing. I was like, you know what? I learned more about it. I was like, wow, you can really help a lot of people. And, giving back to those people creates a larger business, because then people start referring to you after giving back to those people, if that makes sense.
And another thing is, it's just a real hands-on and kind of like, we get to talk to a lot of people, all the time, and different personalities, different ages, and we get to meet new friends and new, people that we didn't know before. So we thought that was kind of a cool part of it, is that we're, right in front of people. We get to talk to them. We get to, work on people's spines. Every spine is different. And so that makes our job kind of different every single day. So it's not just, hey, I'm going to go sit behind the computer today and work on the same stuff.
And versus like, for instance, your primary care physician. Half the people I ask here, they don't even know who their primary care physician is, their PCP, or they don't know who their medical doctor is, who they go see often, because you only see them maybe once, twice a year. So you don't really have a relationship with them. They come in, they do their analysis. You're not sick. Great. We'll see you in a couple of months, and they'll take a blood panel and stuff like that. But with us, you might even be here, 1 to 3 times a week, just depending on the situation. And, you really get to know us and kind of build that relationship. So that's why I think people really enjoy chiropractic as well.
But are you bringing people through the door that believe that chiropractic services are beneficial, or are you seeing kind of, those people that think that, I don't know if it's for me, should I just take the medicine? Right. How are you communicating to those people that aren't sure if it's right for them?
It's a little bit of both. We get, the people that are either used to seeing chiropractors, or or that we're seen as like the last resort for some people. They're like, I've tried everything and I've always been scared about chiropractic, and always, scared about getting my neck popped, or you're going to paralyze me, or whatever, whatever it is they kind of say. So, a lot of times we do see the seasoned chiropractic people that have been all their lives, but we do see the ones that are, they say it's their last resort, and then they tend to be a lot, lifetime patients kind of thing. And they, they enjoy it. And as long as, we educate the patients about, why it's important and what we're doing, as opposed to just, kind of not explaining anything to them and, not educating them, then they won't be as scared, and they understand why it's important to maintain their spine.
It's really just about the education. That's what I think. So.
Gotcha. Well, speaking of education, let's go back to the moment that you decided you wanted to start the Taylor Docs, and let's dive into that a little bit. I'm sure, I don't know if you already knew, that you wanted to kind of brick and mortar, or the different avenues that you could have done this type of service.
Sure.
So tell us a little bit about you figuring that out, just, getting maybe a business loan, or those practical things, and those really the emotional struggles and hesitation that comes with starting your own business.
Bringing back some good times here. So our chiropractic school was after undergrads. We did 4 years undergrad, then 4 years of postgrad right at chiropractic school. We went to Life University in Marietta here, which is the biggest in the nation.
Wow.
And so throughout that process, they teach you whether you should open your practice, whether you should go into, be a colleague of someone else, whether you should just be an associate, an IC, which is an independent contractor. There's a lot of different options. So right out of school, we knew we were going to be our own boss, go into that right away. We shadowed someone. We kind of did our internship for the last year and a half of school. We really learned the ins and outs of the real world per se. But I will say that in school, they really don't teach you anywhere near what you need to know for business wise. So going out in there was definitely scary. We had no idea where to look. We knew we wanted to be in Atlanta and around where we grew up, because that would be, we have more word of mouth. People know who we are already. And so we looked around, right now we're in Buckhead, but we looked in Sandy Springs, Chamblee, we looked in even Dunwoody. We looked in a lot of different places. And so you have to factor in the price per square foot. You have to you factor in how you're going to lay out the office. You have to factor in your equipment costs. You have to factor in how much is it going to be to open the place. And so, yes, long story short, we did have to take out a loan. We took out a business loan. We went to many banks that said, sorry, guys, you don't have any income behind you. There's no, you don't have any assets really. And so you're asking for a large lump sum of money up front. And so a lot of them just laughed in our face and said, sorry, guys, we're not going to give that to you.
How did that make you feel?
Oh, it pissed me off, So I was just like, okay,
But pissed you off in the sense of more hungry?
Much more hungry. Never give up on that. So then we finally found a smaller bank that was able to give us the loan. And then that was able to, we turned that into buying equipment, and, we have an x-ray machine here, digital x-ray machines. That's more than a car typically. And so in those aspects, that's how we got the loan. And then right now, again, if we went back to them and showed us how we're doing now, 2.5 years later, they would be like, wow, I wish I gave them that loan.
You could laugh at them.
Exactly. So it's never give up as far as the banks go. I mean, went to so many banks and we're like, listen, we're going to be professionals. We're not like, I'm not something else starting off. I'm a professional. We went to school for it. Yes, you have student loans. Yes, stuff like that. But if you don't do it, you don't know if you're ever going to succeed in it. And then I'll be mad if you didn't do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
And where were you doing all this? Right beside, or?
A little bit of both. I was actually working I was an associate for an office in Douglasville. I worked for her for about a year and a half. He worked for about a year, and then the extra 6 months I just kept working to help fund more money into putting into the practice and learning more experience, stuff like that. So, getting the income to start the practice is pretty scary. And obviously, once you take a bank loan out, you have to pay it back, kind of thing. So that, of course, that was scary as well. Fortunately, we were able to pay it off within our first year and a half. So that's good. So kind of debt free in that income, which is great.
And were you still working at the other practice?
I worked there for about the first 6 months after we opened, just because we didn't have enough clientele. Those first 3 months of business were really scary. I mean, we'd be twiddling our thumbs like, why aren't people coming in the door? I mean, you can't just expect to, build it out and then just, people are going to call and come in. It doesn't happen like that. So even though you wanted to, you may be the best chiropractors in the world, but if you're not good businessmen, then that's the hardest part. And unfortunately, you don't learn the business until you start in the business, and you either spend a lot of money and you learn by your mistakes. Really, I mean that's really the only way that we probably wasted a lot of time and energy on things that we shouldn't have the first year, but.
It's all about learning. I mean, it's a learning curve.
Yeah.
You're never going to know unless you start doing it. He worked for, several months after school, and the whole goal was always going to be to open up a practice. Just when were we going to do that? We had to get some money for one. We had to get our hands wet, kind of understand what we're trying to do, learn the business side of things and see how someone else does it on their expense. Right. So then we went into this, and then, he was still working and I was the one driving around, looking for locations, finding the prices for this, getting the LOIs, which is a letter of intent, understanding like, hey, this is what it is. This is what your CAM fees are. This is what's included. This was not included. And so really working that out. And I found it kind of enjoyable. Working through the city of Atlanta per se in Fulton County, I will say is not fun. Those people they're not good to work with. I'll be honest with you. So, we projected to open up in June, and we didn't open up until October. So that's how long it takes they keep pushing you back further and further to get all these permits, get the x-ray permits, get everything, kind of your CO, which is your certificate of occupancy, to open up type deal. So it took a lot longer than we expected, but hey, better late than never, right? So.
Yeah. Well, I think it speaks volumes of like your passion and willingness to succeed just simply by you working those first 6 months while this was happening. It reminds me, when I went full time into video production, I jumped off the dock without the boat there,
Right.
and the first 6 months, I think I worked twice.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was scary
Yeah.
times. But with that being said, even though I did jump off the dock, I knew that I had a certain amount of savings. I knew that I could buy, a camera to help me
Right.
get to where I wanted to be and all that stuff. So let's talk about that a little bit. How important is it to stay in reality? It's easy when you're starting your own business to kind of have these big ideas and like, it's going to go this way, it's going to go that way. But to kind of be grounded in reality that, you know what, I'm going to hustle and grind and keep working this other job just for the betterment of our own business.
Right. You have someone that was working, the other job to kind of help fund it. You have someone that's working the actual office that we have now that was, trying to find patients, advertising, marketing. You got to spend money to make money. Yeah. So like, again, initially we put a business plan together. We're like, hey, these are projections. This is how long it's going to take us to make our money back by seeing X amount of patients. Right. And so initially you're like, I'll take anybody. It's like, okay, we saw 5 people today, and then you saw 10 people today. You're like, wow, this is great. We're seeing 10 people a day, which, again, there's not much.
Yeah.
Now we're seeing over 1,000 patients a month, maybe a little bit more than that at this point. And so it really just depends on how you start it, where you want to be, and the future goals you're putting towards. Yes, it's very scary starting it, but again, I will say this, that not every business succeeds right away. I'm going to be honest with you, but if you have a drive for it and you have a passion for it, then you'll be fine. You will succeed in that.
I think they said in school 1 in 2. I could be wrong, but
I think it's 1 in 3 chiropractors out of school
something like that
don't succeed.
33, 35%.
Because one, there's a lot of student debt. 2, there's a lot that goes into it. And when you start your own practice, it's very expensive. It could be several $100,000 starting your own practice. And so you have to put money away to be able to afford that, maybe live a little less extravagant than you normally do, right? Don't drive as nice of a car or stuff like that. You got to do those type of things initially. And then, when your goals you have met, then you keep pushing further goals. And then again, maybe one day you'll drive a Ferrari if you want to drive a Ferrari, you know what I mean? So,
well, I mean, you mentioned you got to spend money to make money,
right? You have to.
It's cliche, but it's so true. And
it is.
And I want to talk about that a little bit because obviously, let's be honest, there's a stigma around chiropractors.
Sure.
Maybe a little less today than it has been in the past, but people thinking that chiropractic services are just kind of a scam. It's not real. How's it been marketing against that? And not from the sense of medical advice or medical, info, but as far as like from the business side and the marketing of saying to those people, how do you break that stigma?
So we kind of fed off of any type of the negative energy and stuff like that. I see sometimes on Facebook, just not us particular, but there's some you'll see on the news, or somebody died from a chiropractor or something like that, or whatever it is,
or they weren't seeing the warning signs,
or it's usually negligence by the doctor. But anyway, then you see all these comments below, I either love my chiropractor or don't go to them. They're quacks. They're this, they're that. And, that honestly, for us, it just kind of drives us more to, educate people, of what we do exactly and why that's different than maybe what happened there, or maybe it wasn't the doctor's fault. There's always 2 sides of the story kind of thing. But, that definitely drives us more to kind of keep pushing and, because this is what we're passionate about. And, if we weren't passionate about it, I'm sure it would fail and stuff like that. So, you can't just expect to go to school and then get your degree and be like, okay, well, now I'm going to make money and now I'm going to do well. So, it doesn't really work like that. You have to, put the time in. We're up at 5:15 every morning. We go to the gym, then we come here. We're here 12 hours, then we go home and repeat the whole thing again kind of thing. So,
we hear things like this all the time. It's, why do I have to go to a chiropractor if I'm not in pain? I hear that all the time. And, my answer is I say this every single time. Why do you brush your teeth if they're not hurting you? But, most people say, well, I'm brushing my teeth because I'm told to do so. Or I'm brushing my teeth to prevent cavities. Great. Why are you getting your spine checked? Did you know your spine is your central nervous system? I mean, did you know that controls everything in your body? So all the functions in your body, your organs, everything's controlled by your brain and spine. So does it make sense to maybe take out interferences that may lay within there? So again, I talk to them and we just try to bring it down to reality. Listen, if you don't get it checked now, you'll get it checked later when you're 50, 60 years old, and then it's going to be much harder to fix then versus spending a little bit of money and time now to be proactive about it versus waiting until later on. You have this bad degeneration, you have your terrible posture, you have headaches, you have, stuff going on. So again, like what he was saying, we feed off the negativity. That's our job. It's fine. You can call us whatever we want. I don't care. But unless you really are educated on what you're doing, unless you've tried it, then you can't really bash it, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
No, it does. And I think you guys talking about educating your customers and your clients, that's something that we haven't necessarily touched on so far on our podcast. And it's almost like, if we have a new client with our video production company, the more information that we give, the more we're on the same page, the more they understand why it costs so much, or this and that. But I feel like there's a lot of people and entrepreneurs that have trouble educating, not necessarily that they're not trying to, but clearly communicating and educating. How important has that been for you guys? I mean, you've expanded to 1,000 plus clients a month, which is tremendous. How much has educating played into that? How important has that been? How do you, now that you have 1,000 plus customers a month, it kind of, to me, that would mean like, okay, I don't have to educate as much now. We have the word of mouth, it's coming. But you guys are keeping that, you've said it time and time again throughout this talk, that you're keeping education at the core of your business.
Right.
So speaking of that a little bit.
So, one of the biggest things that I think people come here for is one, that they, we express to them exactly what we're doing, why we're doing it, and how is it going to affect them. So it always answers all their questions for them. And then that in turn, that one person then educates another 3 people or 5 people. They say, hey, I went to these guys today. They told me about my spine, my body, my extremities. We're not just spine guys. We do everything on your body. So, they look at that and they're like, okay, they have a friend with a migraine, or they have a friend with ankle pain, they have a friend with knee pain. And then it turns out like, okay, does it make sense that if your hips are off balance, or you twist an ankle later or earlier in life, that it can affect you later in life, and so the balance might be off at that point in life. So again, we're educating that person, then that person educates another person, and that person then comes in, and so the referrals keep flowing and flowing. So again, you can start with 5-10 patients a day or a week, almost get to 1,000 a month, and then in another, let's say, year, we might have 2,000-3,000 people a month. I mean, but we don't want to be that high volume, because we like to, much more higher than that, or much higher than that, if that makes sense. We want to keep it at where it should be, so that we have one-on-one attention, and really, because if we lose our mentality of teaching everyone what we're doing and why we're doing it, then it's just you coming and you're not understanding it. So if that makes sense.
And quality care. I mean, we kind of, we're not the chiropractors where you come in, we just kind of get you on the table, say, hey, how you doing? Lay down, we get the bones moving, or as some people say, crack, 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 and see you later kind of thing. You're in and out of the door before you can shut your car door kind of thing. We really, pride ourselves on being quality type doctors where, we actually do care, if you're in pain or you tell us something the previous week, we'll probably remember it for you. We try to become your friends. I mean, because, you see us often, and, we're trying to grow a relationship with you and see you grow a healthy life and things like that. Now, there are people that, we do educate where they just, either they don't understand or they don't get it, which is fine. I mean, you just have to kind of keep moving on. But there's also some people that, we educate and you'd be surprised how much they don't know, or how many medications they're on at an early age at 20 or things that, just little things that can really affect their lives that, that we didn't know, that would change them, if we didn't tell them kind of thing. So, and again, it goes back to, just like you said, the education. If we don't tell them what we're doing, why we're doing it, and why it's important, then, they'll never know. Like we can, we know, but if they don't know, then understand, then, what's the point of what we're doing kind of thing, It's not just a quick pain relief kind of thing,
Right. So I'll ask you the same question I ask everybody.
Okay.
If you had to pick one organ in your entire body that controls everything, what would you say it is? Just one organ.
That controls everything. Well, just because you said your spine is your central nervous system, I would go there. But that's just because you just told me 20 minutes ago.
the extension of something is your spinal cord. What would you think that is? Think up top.
I guess your brain.
Your brain, right? That's your powerhouse. Yeah. So most people say heart, or not many people say brain.
Yeah.
So brain then has the spinal cord, right? So the spinal cord then controls all your spinal nerves, your organs, et cetera, et cetera. I won't get into the science, but that's the powerhouse of everything. If that shuts off, lights out, right? Yeah. So that's why it's important to take care of everything below that spine and all the organs and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So again, education. You didn't know that, now you know that, right? So
still talking about the education, you said you answer questions that people have. What were those questions? It was a how, why. You hit on a couple.
Why are we doing it? So what would you say they are? So why we're doing it, what is it affecting? And I guess that's pretty much it.
Pretty much. Okay.
Why and where.
And I guess how you'll get better, things like that.
The only reason I ask is I think that is a principle that people could take into any business.
Sure.
Right.
You know, if you approach every client, you know, this is why we're doing
right.
it.
I can probably relate to every single when, why, how, where, all those questions I can relate into something every single time.
Yeah.
Why am I doing this? How often am I doing this? Where am I doing it to your body, et cetera, et cetera? What is the purpose of doing it? So realistically, it is every single question.
Yeah. And I think that's just a very practical tip to any business owners, you know, no matter what your business is, go ahead and have these, you know, these
fundamental questions for sure
lined up to answer for your client,
right?
And maybe even put them on the homepage of your website, so they're there.
There you go,
yeah, and that, you know, that's what I love about the show. It's like that's something you do just, you know, naturally, but yet that can be pulled and extracted from this podcast and something that people can really take home to help expand their business. And that's just great insight. But another thing you guys mentioned is just relationship, which obviously is important, but a lot of people have trouble with. To be honest, I'm a little more of an introvert. Like doing this type of stuff is like really out of my comfort zone. I'm getting a little more comfortable with it now. And you know, we've had a lot of times where I've had to talk to clients and business owners and things of that nature, that the relationship, I know it's important, but trying to connect with someone that, you know, if you meet at a bar somewhere, you probably wouldn't connect with. There's a difference between a business relationship and a personal relationship, I would say.
Of course.
But you guys are kind of taking that business, that client relationship, and making it personal.
Right. To some extent.
Yeah. So
within your own boundaries, right?
Yeah, so. Totally. But why is there such a focus on relationship? I mean, there's the obvious answers. You know, it pays off. It's more of a care. It's a genuine care for your client versus just another number coming through the door.
Right. Exactly. Well, then they feel like it's personable for one. It'll make them come back because they enjoy their experience versus having to come here and you don't talk about anything. Just lay down, hush.
Yeah.
Don't say a word. We're gonna do our thing. Versus you come in here, you're here for probably 20, 30 minutes every single time you're here. You know, you're with us, you do different therapies. We're always checking on you. We're talking about it. Hey, I just got married. Congratulations. Let's talk about the marriage. Yeah. A lot of it is more talking about them and not so much us, because we really want to learn about them. If they ask us questions, of course, we'll answer them, but we really want to hear about their life and their experiences with everything. So, you know, we get to know them, and then we get to know their family. Like, for instance, I see a lot of moms, and then I see a lot of their children after that, even like a 6-year-old. I saw a 6-year-old yesterday. So I'll see the mom, then I'll see the kid, then I'll see the husband. I mean, it just goes on and on and on, because they like to talk to us. They think we're personable. They can sit with us and just literally have a conversation while their son or daughter is getting adjusted at the same time. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. That's
awesome. We want them to become lifelong patients and things like that. You know, just like, you know, we want, you know, the same in return kind of thing. So, you know, if we don't, you know, get to know them and kind of things, then, you know, we're not really doing, not necessarily our jobs, but, you know, we're honestly just friendly people. We want to, you know, get to know other people, other personalities, what they do, where they go out, what friend groups they're in, where they're from, all these kind of things. So, you know, honestly, for us, it's just kind of an interesting thing, as we get to talk to all new people every day and things like that. And like he said, then we get to talk to their kids, and then we get to talk to their husbands or brothers, sisters.
Yeah.
So, you know, we start meeting the whole community, and then once that becomes, you know, this person, that person, you know, then we really know the whole community. Now when we're at the gym, you know, we see people that are like, oh, hey, Dr. Taylor, or you know, I was in, you know, CVS earlier, and they're like, hey, Dr. Taylor. I'm like, hey. A lot of times, you know, they think it's my brother or vice versa. Yeah. So I get a little confused sometimes, but, you know, try to play it off kind of thing. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's, you know, that's part of it. You know, we don't want to be like, I mean, we are your friends, things like that, but we're also, you know, your doctors, and we, you know, we care about your health and, you know, your progression throughout life and kind of thing. So,
but we want to make them comfortable enough where if they see us out, they can come up to us and be like, hey, this is my wife, or this is my friend, or something like that. They can introduce us, and they don't feel like, oh, there's my dog, run away, you know, kind of deal. It's like, oh, there's my whatever dentist or something like that. You know?
So did your 1,000+ customers a month, was that a consistent gradual increase, or was it like for the first year you had very few, and then at some point it just started skyrocketing?
Right. Again, I mean, the first, you got to keep in mind, maybe the first 3 to 6 months of any business might not be profitable at all.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally.
So it takes time to maybe even make $1. So you got to save for that, going back to that, but you got to save a little bit of money to be able to afford to be open for 6 months without having any income. Right.
Yeah.
So you got to pay off your debt. You got to pay off what you did. There's no reason to take money out of the business.
Yeah. I think our dad always said, have at least 6 months of, rent, and God forbid you don't make any money, have that put away, because, if you don't, God forbid something goes sour. I mean, how are you going to afford the rent or, to live, things like that.
And
so,
even when you're doing extremely well, I think
right.
that's
Yeah.
still important.
You should always have some
we
type
always
of
have,
savings.
savings put away, whether we want it or not kind of thing.
Now, is that for the business and personally, or?
It's a little bit of both, I guess.
Okay.
I mean, really more for the business. I mean, we both have personal savings, things like that. But yeah, definitely more for the business because, this is our income kind of thing. This is how we make money.
You never know what happens. I mean, for instance, one of our adjustment tables literally just broke the other day for no reason. There's no reason why it broke. It just broke. And so it's going to cost you several $1,000s to fix. And so you have to have that additional funds put away just in case, because you can't have a practice without the adjustment tables themselves, right? So again, to come back to your question, we started really slow. Again, I was really excited. We saw 100 people a month. We're like, heck yeah, that's awesome. So 100 people. And so it started to gradually go up there. Yeah, I mean, we have never had a month that it's been less, if that makes any sense. Yeah. Sometimes during holidays, it might be give or take a couple patients, but it's really never been less. And so every year has literally been, increase every single year. So this year, again, we can project about 1,500 to 2,000 patients a month as time goes on towards the end of the year. So it just depends. And you got to keep driving and don't give up as far as that goes. So.
And you said earlier that, you want to have the right amount of patients.
Right.
And I don't know if that's necessarily a plateau, because I feel like you can provide an excess amount of services and have those people come back more often, or maybe they are here the same, but they're spending more and helping you guys more. But is it hard to, when you see that many patients coming through the door, is it hard to kind of say, okay, this is the right number, and not think about a new location or think about bringing even more people in the door? I think there's a difference in entrepreneurship mindset of, this is where I can provide the most value to my patients or clients, and this is where I want to be.
Right. A lot of people ask, are you accepting new patients? I think that's a standard question a lot of people ask, and the answer is always yes. I'm not going to turn someone down. We will make the time, whether I have to extend the hours or not extend the hours. I'm already open 6 days a week, or we're open 6 days a week. So, there's a lot of people that only come on Saturdays. We always know those clients are just coming once a week, every single Saturday. We have patients that call in. We're like, hey, can I make an appointment? I'm a new patient. We're fully booked today, but will we make it happen somehow? Whether it's today or maybe after hours, yes, we'll make it happen. So again, you don't want to turn down business. It's not the money. I don't care about that, but at least we're helping that person. At least they're not in pain that night per se, or at least they're feeling better one way or another. So
you're being very accommodating.
Right. We try to be as accommodating as possible. And our schedule is, because there's 2 of us, again, you can see double the amount of people up front, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So, I can schedule a new patient. He can be with a couple of my patients, or vice versa. So.
Yeah. And it's kind of what you just said about plateauing, and my brother Craig just said about, having 2 of us, which has been a big advantage, well, both good and bad, obviously, that we're brothers, kind of butt heads a little bit, but, without the 2 of us, both having our strengths and weaknesses and both being different and reaching out to different people, working on different patients, and, it would be really tough for us, because I don't think we'd be the position we're at right now if it was just me or just him and things like that. And we wouldn't probably not be able to see, that many people a month or that many people a day kind of thing. So like you said, at some point, do we think we're going to have to hire somebody or get a new office and, kind of extend, or in a little satellite office, something like that? Most likely.
Yeah.
But, then again, it's another expense, another worry, another stress. So, yes and no kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, you said you guys butt heads a little bit, which, I mean, I think anyone who's working with any family member, or even if it's just a business partnership in general, you guys are going to butt heads a little bit. So what's 1 or 2 tips to managing your guys' relationship to make sure that at the end of the day, it's still going in a healthy direction?
Right. Well, since we're brothers, I mean, it's hard, like you said, working with your family. I mean, it's hard to treat each other, differentiate between brothers versus business partners. So, that's been a little struggle for us, trying to talk to each other as a business partner that you don't know versus a brother that you've known all your life, and on top of that being a twin, things like that. So, that's
you guys are twin?
Yeah,
no, I'm kidding.
Yeah, so that's always a tough thing. We do have once a month a meeting together. I go to his house, he goes to mine. We talk, we sit down. What our goals are for the next month. What's worked, what hasn't, what have we spent money on that hasn't worked, and vice versa kind of thing. So for us, I think a good thing to do is just have it either a weekly meeting, a monthly meeting together, either with just the owners or with the staff as well. We have once a week meeting with our staff just to go over, it could just be like, hey, we're doing a great job, let's have coffee and donuts, but there's always something that needs to be improved, and we're always looking to improve. What's that?
We don't have donuts here.
Just outside of it.
It's a healthy place. We really
outside,
don't.
So
for the employees.
There's always room for improvement, so we try to meet together.
I mean, patience is a big thing on there. So you have to have patience when you're talking to somebody, whether it's an employee, whether it's family. Obviously, when it's family, you just want to choke each other out sometimes. But you got to be patient on that, and kind of fight through those negativities that you have towards each other, or it's not going to work out.
But have you guys found that your relationship as brothers and that personal relationship is kind of being a less of a priority? Has your relationship gone a little more business-like, nonstop versus actually just brothers?
Yes,
I would say, yeah. I mean, unfortunately, it does play a role in that.
Yeah.
Once you're pretty much here all day with each other. Obviously, we're not in the same household, but we, when we're here and we're not here, it's like, hey, when are we meeting? It's either once in a while with like a big social event with some of our good friends, because we have the same friends, or it's, hey, let's meet on a Sunday and let's go over financials, or let's go over this, let's go over that. So it does tend to be a little bit more business related, unfortunately, but it doesn't mean we don't lose relationships with one another.
It's probably with most businesses. I mean, when you own it, it's a stressful thing, and or at least for me, you're always thinking about it kind of thing. How can we improve? I mean, even at night when I'm trying to go to sleep, I'm like, oh, did I forget to do this? Did I forget to do that? And, similar when we're together now, we're out on the weekends together. I mean, it's still somehow in the back of our minds, we're kind of thinking about the business and how we can improve each other and push each other to do better, or vice versa kind of thing.
But I will say that you need to make time and prioritize time over business in any aspect. Yeah. So let's just say I was married, which I'm not. I don't even have a girlfriend, but he's in a serious relationship. He's not married either. But let's just say at some point we're going to get married, right? So at some point maybe I'll have kids, and so I need to find out a way to prioritize not all work related and still make time for my family and my friends and stuff like that. So that's always important to do. And my dad is a medical doctor, and he, always growing up, we're probably a little closer with our mom because of that. And because my dad was always at work or going in, he had like a little beeper on, constantly getting called in. So, if I had to say anything, I wish he was there for some of my baseball games or some of my lacrosse games, stuff like that. So we definitely got to prioritize, what's important, family over anything, at least in my
opinion. I feel like you took some of your inspiration from him.
We
most of it.
Yeah, I mean, my dad came from nothing, grew up in a very, unfortunately, like a very, less fortunate household, and then all of his brothers became surgeons, and they're all, medical doctors. So everyone became something because they wanted to be better than my dad. I was very fortunate growing up, and my dad has been there to guide us the entire way and really help us out. So it's been nice. So.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, just wrapping up, is there any last words of advice or anything that you want to add that may be missing from this conversation, to say there's a chiropractor in our audience that, they want to go into this type of field and they're just nervous, hesitant. They think that it's too overwhelming, too scary.
Sure.
What's one thing you would
So, I mean, not just chiropractic or owning a chiropractic business, which definitely yes, but, starting any business is tough. And, we went through our struggles, and you're going to go through your struggles, but you learn from your mistakes, and, you just keep pushing on it. If you're passionate about it, then, keep pushing, and you'll be able to succeed. Right now we're living a very nice lifestyle, making more money we've made, in our whole lives, which is great. But, it wasn't handed to us. We put the time in, just like any job, or, starting a business is tough. But, like I said, going through those struggles is what's really made us better. And that's what's pushed us more and more.
Right. So, don't be scared if you have a goal, try for it. If you don't succeed, try something else, but keep pushing on. I mean, it's not like I'm going to wake up tomorrow and we're going to have 5,000 patients. It's not going to happen. It's just, you got to put your time and effort into it. And then once you do, trust me, the money will come later, because if you're doing a good job, the money will come later. Because a lot of people are like, oh, I need to go in business and own my own business because I want to be rich.
Yeah.
That's a misconception.
If you're not passionate about it, you're most likely not going to succeed. So you have first and foremost, you have to be passionate about it and like what you do. I mean, because it's hard to get out of bed every morning if you don't like what you do and it doesn't bring you enjoyment, things like that. So
is hard work more important than talent?
And talent?
Yeah.
Yes, I would say hard work. Yes. I mean, yes, you can find everyone's going to have a talent in something. Mm-hmm. You might be better at IT stuff. I might be better in science, but it doesn't mean, because the people are coming here is like, oh, you're smarter than me. I don't like when people say that. It's like, listen, I'm not smarter than you. I just have more education in this. You may have more education in that. Right. Yeah. So, if you put the hard work in, then your talents will come about for sure. Mm-hmm. So.
Awesome. Well, very last thing, just give people a way to find you, whether it's website, social media.
Sure.
Let's put it all out there.
And so I do want to kind of bring it back actually real quick that, there's 1,000 chiropractors in the area. You're right. I think we might have talked about that. There's 1,000 cleaners. There's 1,000, gas stations. There's enough business to go around. So don't be scared to dive into it. You're going to find your niche. You're going to find, what differentiates you between someone else and another chiropractor downtown or next door to you. I'm not scared to open up next door to another chiropractor because I know our quality is there and our hard work is there. So, we started back in 2015. So literally in 2016 and 2018 of this year, which hasn't been announced yet, but we won the best chiropractor of Atlanta from Modern Luxury, which is a pretty big, Jezebel, which is a big magazine here, and we're pretty proud about that because that means it was voter related. So a lot of people were just voted for us versus other chiropractors that could have won that. So easily to find us. We're right by Piedmont and Roswell Road intersection in Buckhead, near the Bar Taco or Super Rica. A lot of people know where those are. The Ivy or Johnny's Hideaway. You probably know where that one is. Yeah. And so that's an easy way to find us. We're right off there, 3833 Roswell Road Northeast. Yeah. And so the website. Yeah. I mean, you've said it before, the taylordocs.com. So thetaylordocs.com. That's the easiest way. You can actually schedule online with us. You don't even have to call. And so we've made it pretty seamless for them.
And your Instagram, which has a great
everything is the Taylor Docs. That's right. So
Taylor Docs.
The Taylor Docs at the Taylor Docs. I mean, so you can look us up. You can go online, search Google, and even Taylor Chiropractic and Wellness online, and then you'll see all the reviews. If you don't believe us, look at some reviews and do your due diligence before you pick a chiropractor. So. Yeah.
Well, last thing, just kind of going back to what you said about you're not scared to open a business right next to another chiropractor, and what I hear from that is that you're more confident in your relationships with your patients. You know that you can be you, keep the focus on what you guys do best, and no matter where you are and no matter what competition does, you're going to grow because you really care about the patients and not necessarily paying attention to that chiropractor next door.
Right. Yeah,
you're paying attention to what actually matters and what's going to bring value to them and in turn your business. Right. So. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. This has been great. And I hope the best success for you guys going forward.
You too, guys. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.